Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Girl Be Free podcast. I'm your host, Siobhan, where I'm going to inspire and motivate you to show up for yourself. This week, I just simply want to encourage you on your journey. There's no theme to this. I really just wanted to get on the mic and speak from my heart and let you know that I want to challenge every Girl Be Free listener to own your story, to own your space, and to show up for yourself in the most authentic way possible. I'll be honest, I haven't always been the most authentic, and I'm in this process right now of stripping myself from everything that doesn't feel good and really in a space of growing and being uncomfortable. And as I approach my birthday in a few days, it'll be my last year of my 30s. And I'm looking at my life and I'm like, okay, there's one more thing that you just have to kind of work through, I should say, and mark my very words as I finish up this last year of my 30s and go into my 40s next year. That's definitely going to be my glow up season. I have spent almost a decade of doing the inner work in healing and growing. And as I mentioned last week, even though I'm doing the work, I am flawed, I am imperfect, but I can still inspire other women on the journey as well. I can teach you, I can coach you, I can do all of that as I'm doing the work myself. And I feel like those are the kind of people that you want to be connected to or you want to learn from. People that are not putting on air or acting like they have it all together or perfect or all that jazz. Like people that you feel like, oh, she's doing the work and I can see her receipts. I can see the growth and I know I can trust her to help me as well. And so this week, I really just want to take time to encourage you to own your space, own your story. Don't feel like you have to have it all together to get started. And we've all been through some things. We've all had some hurts. We all have had some struggles, all of that. And that's okay. Own your story. Heal from your story because there is someone who needs to hear your story. And trust me, there are women who feel like they're all alone and they're the only ones going through what they're going through. And they think that nobody can relate to them. But then when you share your story, your journey, then they know that they're not alone. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, I sent out a newsletter and I also shared on social media a very, very personal post. And I've received so many responses, even people DMing me saying, thank you. I experienced something very similar and felt that I was alone, or my mother passed away and I've been going through this, um, just having all these negative thoughts and things like that. And so I didn't know how my words were going to impact other people. I just knew I needed to share them. And the reason, and I'll talk about it a little bit in a minute, but the reason I'm sharing, and you're going to hear more on the podcast, more on my newsletter, more on my post of just being more, me being more authentic and being vulnerable and transparent, because my goal is to show you my human side so that you can see that even with the flaws, I'm still here to do amazing work that's impacting women all over the world. And I'm committed to helping whoever wants to join this journey with me. But something that I shared on social media and in my newsletter was how I am taking ownership of my story. For almost 2 decades of my life, I held on to a story about the relationship with my mother and I that no longer serves me at all. The story that I told, it kept me in a negative space. And I didn't realize that I was holding on to something and while I'm helping other women be free and while I'm teaching other women how to show up in their life, a part of me was still feeling trapped in my own life because I was holding on to a story that just it just didn't serve me anymore, right? And so when I was 15 years old, my mother gave me a choice that would forever impact my life in a way that I never thought that it would. I could A, continue to live with her and her new husband that I had never met prior to her marrying him, or I can permanently move in with my grandmother. I chose B, and I didn't realize that the choice that I was making, how it was going to impact my life, but I'm so glad that I made it. And even though the relationship that I have with my mother, even to this day, there's a disconnect. I know at 15, I made the best choice that I could possible for myself. And the limited belief that I carried from adolescence all the way to adulthood was that I wasn't good enough. And that limited negative belief held me hostage. So even as I flourished in my business, even as I flourished as a mother and flourished as a wife, a part of me still didn't feel like I was good enough. And I decided, I made a choice that I no longer wanted to carry that belief anymore. I no longer wanted to carry that pain anymore. And I decided to change the way that I thought about my life, about myself. And I've been doing the inner work to heal. And so now I affirm myself by saying, I am more than good enough and I get better every day. I took control of my thoughts and I replaced it with a new belief. And I decided that if I really wanted to show up and be the best version of myself, I was going to have to take control and monitor the thoughts that go into my head every single day. And so, just like when I was 15 and I chose to live with my grandmother because I felt that that was the best place for me to be, I also have to choose the words that come out of my mouth, the thoughts that I have in my head, and what I think about myself. And I have to focus on being positive. I no longer want to feel trapped by my negative limited beliefs. You know why? Because they don't serve me. And so I'm in this space right now where I'm challenged to change the story so that way I am walking in my truth. I am walking in purpose. I am healed or healing, I should say. I am growing. I am evolving. And as I become more vulnerable and share parts of my story, the more women I can help who feel stuck in their life and their thoughts are all over the place and they feel like they're struggling and they can't figure out how to let go of the negative limited beliefs that they've been holding on to since they were kids. Now, because I'm doing the inner work, I can grab you by the hand and say, come on, sis, I got you. I can help you. We can grow together. And this is what I'm going to be teaching in the Master Your Mind Bootcamp. And it's my step by step process on how I was able to break free from the negative thoughts so that I can now fully show up and live the life that I want. Because at the end of the day, all I want to do is be free. Free to live the life I desire on my own terms. And that's exactly what I'm teaching the women in the Master Your Mind Bootcamp. And you can learn more and enroll at masteryourmindbootcamp.com. My whole purpose, my whole journey, my whole reason is to really impact women all over the world. And the way that I do that is by teaching you what I am learning and how I've been able to shift the direction of my life so I can show up in the most authentic way possible. I don't want you to look up a year from today and be carrying the same negative thoughts that's not serving you. Your thoughts matter. And in order for you to get to the place where you can be free and live your best life, you have to master your thoughts. It's time to silence the negative voices. It's time to own your story and walk in your truth so you can finally show up for yourself in the biggest way possible and be proud about the life that you're creating. So that's what I have for you today. I really just want to pop on and encourage you. Again, enrollment is now open for the Master Your Mind Bootcamp. You can go to masteryourmindbootcamp.com. Classes start on April 9th, so please register as soon as possible. That way you're able to save your seat. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. And until next time, girl, be free.